Hey guys, what's up? This is and Basis. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna have a little update. I knew this was coming. I did not want to do it. But since I'm reviewing television shows, I'm now going to do Nick Jr. I mean, I grew up with a lot of these shows. I know a lot of people still find them classic. Honestly, age I'm at, I don't give a shit about it. It looks really stupid, but when I was a lot younger, it was amazing. The only thing I could say that was really good and classic was like Oswald, Kipper the dog, a few more that I can't remember from the from the Nick Jr. era when I was growing up, but those were just to name a few. Now, the one I remember the most is Blue's Clues, and that's where I'm going to be starting tonight. And then, of course, I'm going to get on to that live action Blue's Clues one. So, anyways, let's go ahead and dive right into Blue's Clues. Okay, so Blue's Clues ran from 1996 to 2006. And I mean, this show ran for a long time. So, it started off with Steve Burns, who played, well, of course, Steve. And, of course, Blue and them had like parties or whatever trying to think up, and Blue would kind of be like, okay, so let's think of a way to make this out of a game. So she put her paw prints on stuff and say like, hey, let's do this. So it's like there was this one where there was like a party and they wanted this certain things, like he writes it, like Steve would write it down in a notebook, and it's like, let's go sit down in the thingy chair and then think about it, and then you'd have the mail time and all that crap, and then that'd be the end. And it ran for quite a while, and sometimes you can come up with the answer. So they're like mini puzzles, games, that kind of sort of thing. And so, of course, you did have different characters like Mr. Salt and Mr. Pepper, Soap. Trying to think here. You have Mailbox. I think Mailbox was pretty cool. I liked Mailbox. He was pretty cool back then. Paprika, Tickety Talk, Shovel Pail, and what was that thing? It was like a nightstand. I don't remember, but I know something like a drawer or nightstand. Of course, you would have Blue's friends, who I don't barely remember. I know it was a cat or whatever. I know they had one chick in there who was the owner of that cat, but I don't remember her name because it's been so goddamn long since I've seen the show. Luckily, I remember it a little bit. And then, of course, Steve left because he didn't want to do Blue's Clues for a long time. So he departed in 2002, and a guy named Donovan Patton came in, and he was known as Joe. Which I remember the campaign, actually. Not a campaign, but more like a vote. Who would be the best person? Would you have Squidward from SpongeBob Fag Pants or Joe, aka Donovan Patton? And of course, Joe would win. Why would you want Squidward in this? This would, even though I voted for him, because that'd be a hell of a crossover. But aside from that, the show ran for a very long time. Same concept, but wait a minute. They stopped doing the show because they went on to something different. It was called Blues Room from 2004 to 2007. This was like a live action, like puppets. I'm like, huh? Because I was still, let's see, The show started 2004. I was like 8 or 9. Still enjoy it to a certain degree because I felt nostalgic at the time, but it. I don't know. It just didn't feel like the Blue's Clues spirit. It just. I mean, yeah, they had Joe. I mean, he was there every now and again. They had a few of the same characters now and again, but it just wasn't the same. So I could see why it didn't run that long like the original Blue's Clues. So honestly, I could say if they did bring the show back, I honestly would watch one episode and say, "Wow." Showing this to certain kids that have never seen it, showing a good classic TV show that's not bullshit. It's amazing to see. Because here's the thing though, because you got Steve and Joe. You got Joe who loves Steve more than anything. But then you got people who grew up with Joe and Steve. So I don't know how that would work. I mean, maybe they could have like, how do you say, Joe and Steve living? Well, no. That would be bad because it's a whole gay experience thing. I could say maybe they could take turns, or maybe Joe could live next door. Maybe they could both be brothers. Maybe I don't know how they would pull that off, but if they could bring the show back, I would love to see the original formula, either Steve or Joe or both. That's my honest opinion on the show. So, anyways, alright guys, this is Emmy Basis. I talked and/or ranted about Blue's Clues, and I hope you'll have a good night when you're watching this. Thank you.